going on, guys? Connor Mark Show back here on YouTube page, reacting to an Eagles victory. Victory Monday, the first Monday of the year, and the first victory of the year. And it was a whopping win for the Philadelphia Eagles as they went down to Atlanta and thrashed the Atlanta Falcons. And it was not even close. It was a dominant victory for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts balled out. The offense in general played a great game. And even though the defense started a little slow in the first quarter, they came out and played dominant after the first quarter. So, Mark, big win for the Philadelphia Eagles. What was your reaction to Week One's victory?
Dude, I'm just the whole game. I felt comfortable, and I know we were talking about this before the show, and that was one of the biggest things for me. I mean, so many emotions and just being happy and a resilient team, if you will, just from everything going on last year and all the drama and stuff like that, and really, again, not trying to get too ahead of myself here. I know it's Week One. I know it's the Falcons, but just really excited about this team. I mean, just the way, and I know we're gonna get into it a little later, but just some of the three things that I loved from the game just right off the bat was the way Hurts played, the way he controlled the game, and the poise he showed. He made no bad passes, in my opinion. Everything that wasn't a sure thing, he threw away or used his legs. And another great thing within that was he got down, didn't take any real big hits. I love the way the defense reacted after those first two drives you were just alluding to. They really settled in. Obviously, no points in the second half, which was just unreal to see. And then the third thing was just Nick Sirianni in his debut of coaching in the NFL. Looks like he's been there and really just has a firm grasp on this locker room, in my opinion. He really, preached commitment and that dog mentality, every single play, whether it's a good play, whether it's a bad play, indifferent, whatever it may be, just to come out next play and play it, like nothing happened before. And it really showed in this team. There was no quit, and they really just stayed composed and played a full 60-minute game. And an Eagles fan, so refreshing to see with the past 2 years of slow starts, a pile of injuries. And I don't even want to say that because, I don't want to jinx anything, but just everything that we saw yesterday was kind of a reversal of what we saw in every single game last year. So I'm ecstatic right now. Again, not trying to get too far ahead of myself. I know Barstool Philly was throwing up that picture of Super Bowl tickets yesterday. I'm not that far ahead, but this team looks really good, and Jalen Hurts looks like he's the real deal if he keeps putting the work in, and he obviously has.
Well, there's so much to love from yesterday's game. We'll go through all of it. Starting with the offense, a lot of young players, and we're hoping that they would have, the second, third years where they can really explode onto the scene and really develop as, star, offensive weapons. And we saw it right away with Jalen Hurts, obviously 27 from 35, 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. No interceptions, like you alluded to. He really didn't make any bad passes. And the Atlanta Falcons defense, they were blitzing a whole lot. They were doing a lot of zone blitzing. So it was not a lot of time for Jalen Hurts to stay in the pocket and look around. But, the offensive line did a good job protecting him. I thought the running backs like Gainwell and Sanders did a good job blocking blitzes. And really, he did not throw any passes where I thought was that should have been intercepted or that was a really bad pass, other than the Ertz pass on the sideline that was ruled a catch, but should have been incomplete. But other than that, man, he had a great game. He was hitting, a lot of different receivers. Devontae Smith, who had 6 receptions for 71 yards and a big touchdown in the first quarter. That was a great pass to him. Jalen Reagor had 6 catches for 49 yards and a touchdown. That screen pass was a great play. And then Dallas Goedert with a great catch. He went 4 for 42 with a touchdown. And then rushing the football, we saw Miles Sanders. It was a typical Miles Sanders game. I thought he had a good game, 15 carries for 74 yards, about 5 yards a carry. And then Kenny Gainwell too, 9 carries for 37 yards, and he looked pretty good in receiving wise too. He had, he only had 2 catches, 6 yards, but he looked pretty good, man. I thought, and he also had, Kenny Gainwell had a touchdown too, so he looked good. I thought everybody in the offense looked, they had defined roles and they executed them really well. The game plan by Nick Sirianni was fantastic. He only made maybe one or two calls. I thought a 4th down call down in the Atlanta side of the field, I think in the second quarter, it was a bad play call. Didn't really come to fruition. It seemed kind of a little rushed. But other than that, I thought he did a fantastic job coming in with the game plan and make sure all his players executed it. And on the defense side of the ball, Javon Hargrave had a great game. He had 3 tackles and 2 sacks. I thought other people in the defensive line, Hassan Ridgeway had a big play. Yeah, Fletcher Cox didn't really even come up on the score sheet. He didn't have a tackle or a sack. So, but the defensive line as a whole played really well. I thought the secondary it was one of those games where you didn't really hear their names a whole lot, which I guess is a good thing, because it's just they weren't getting burnt at all. I think that when Darius Slay had a good game, he had a couple of breakups, especially in the second half. Steven Nelson looked good. So I think that was a huge addition too, to have some veteran guys on the back end playing in the secondary. And I thought, really the defense as a whole, I know early on they struggled to run and coming out with Atlanta, I know they had Cordell Patterson and Mike Davis run the ball successfully in the first quarter. It kind of felt like they went away from it too. They didn't, I don't know how much of it was an adjustment for Jonathan Gannon, but more so of, Arthur Smith really just moving away from the run and trying to throw the ball to, Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts, he did not have a good game. I think he only had 30 receiving yards, but he did not really have a great game. And that was a little shocking to see that they didn't really go to him more. But, kudos to the Eagles defense, to the Eagles offense, and the whole team all together. They had a great game. And we're hearing a lot today from the national media, especially that, it's just the Falcons, and rightfully so. I think the Falcons are a bad football team, but, Falcons were favored going into it. They're favored by 3.5, I believe. And they went down there and they kicked their ass. So that's what you want out of a team like that, a young team. They're prepared, ready to go. And I think Eagles fans should be ecstatic about what they saw. And I'm not proclaiming anything at this point. I'm more in the wait and see mode with, Jalen Hurts and the rest of the team. But, they're coming back home and you're a lot more optimistic about playing the 49ers. We'll probably get into that game a little bit by the end of the show. Just touch on it. I know we'll probably do an episode later in the week breaking down the game, and also have our radio show on Saturday. But man, you come back home, first game sold out the link in almost a year and a half, and it's exciting, man. I'm really pumped to see this team come home and play. I think they have a good shot of beating the 49ers. I'm not going to get my pick officially. I'll wait till Saturday, but I think they have a good shot.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. And just to backtrack, because you made some really good points there. I mean, the first one and being the national media, I mean, everybody wants to say this Falcons team, it's terrible. It doesn't really, it's not that big of a win, yada, yada, yada. I look at it completely different. I look at it as the Eagles had 4 wins last year. The Falcons had 4 wins last year. To your point, they were favored coming in, which I thought was kind of insulting before the game. I just didn't really think this was a great football team. But again, both 4 wins last year, so I understand they're home, so they're going to get the points. But it's not even about the score. It's not even about per se the team. It was just about the way, and as I said it earlier in the show, just the way this team played. I mean, every single play. I think there was only a few plays where it was negative yardage. I think that one sack or that throwaway. I'm not too sure what happened there where Hurts threw it out of bounds.
I think they only had one sack on Hurts.
Yeah, one sack and maybe a few in the backfield, but. Other than that, they look great. And in regards to the defense, again, the first 2 drives were slow. I do agree. They couldn't really stop the run as Patterson was getting after and Davis was early. But again, you got to remember, rarely any of these guys played any preseason. This was really their first game action and stepping into week 1 regular season, whether you're playing the Falcons or whether you're playing the Chiefs, it's going to be a tough game. It's the NFL. It's a high speed. And
it's not
these
easy
guys
playing on the road.
Exactly. And you're on the road and these guys, they're all professionals. So there's no easy game here. So, the start, again, I wasn't too per se worried. I just wanted to see how they reacted. And obviously with the second half with no points, I mean, they reacted and they adjusted great. No touchdowns in the entire game either. That's insane. Only 2 field goals. So credit to them on that. And again, the national media has been really been down on the Eagles. I know in our group chat, Ryan sent that picture of Colin Cowherd predicting the Eagles have 3 wins.
Well, he was eating crow this morning, man. He's like, maybe I was wrong on the Eagles.
Yeah, I have to rethink it, yada, yada, yada. But, at the
3
end of the
wins
day,
is really low.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this team is they have some veterans, obviously. They have some guys that can play. And really, just over the past 2-3 years, it's really been injuries that have been the death of this team and that really shot them in the foot. And again, if they can stay healthy, they have a great chance, like I said, to win this division. Ryan Fitzpatrick going down, again, he's not a huge part, but again, just a starter.
Starting quarterback, it's
starting quarterback.
He does, or
Daniel Jones didn't look great. He turned the ball over, I believe, twice yesterday. And then Dak Prescott looked good on Thursday, but
is it unrealistic to think that Jalen Hurts is the second best quarterback in the division?
I really don't think it's
No,
unrealistic to think
I
that.
don't think it is either.
I think Daniel Jones may be the bottom 3 quarterback in the NFL. I mean, I feel pretty confident in saying that.
Especially with how many weapons he
Um,
has. He just looks so
yeah, you have
lost. And
Galladay, you have Shepard,
Shepard
you
had a great
have
game.
Slayton, you have Ingram, you have Barkley in the back.
Saquon Barkley, one of the best
Yeah,
running backs in the NFL. Yeah.
that guy is
I,
pretty good.
I
So
mean, it's yeah. What like I was saying, I mean, I don't want to announce or make Jalen Hurts something he's not, but he did
mhm,
go out there and have a great game, and
he did.
he looked poised, which is a huge thing because they were playing a lot of zone blitzing and they weren't giving up too much down the field, so they weren't forcing it down the field. We'll see if I'll look into what the 49ers run and they suffered some injuries today too. I mean, I believe they lost Verrett, who's a
Barrett,
corner
yep,
for the
torn ACL,
season.
they
Yeah,
believe.
which stinks because he's been hurt his whole career, which is unfortunate. But also
Mhm.
Raheem Mostert is gonna be out. He put on the IR. Yeah, so they're gonna be coming in banged up too, and they're really banged up last year. But looking
Definitely.
at so
And real
sorry, go
quick
ahead.
before we leave the Eagles point, I mean, just one more big thing that I really loved with Miles Sanders. I know last year he didn't get the amount of touches that a lot of people really thought he should.
Yeah,
And again, like you said earlier in the show, 15 carries. That's great for him, and that's a great. I think it's a perfect amount of touches in the game with Gainwell now in the back, who looked incredible. I may
he
add,
did.
not only in
He
the
looked good.
running, but as you said, also the pass blocking. I thought he did a great job of that with all the blitzes they were running. But, just Sanders, I feel like, a lot of times last year he was looking for that big play, that big break and running side to side, trying to bounce outside and trying to find room out there. And I thought he did a good job of kind of running a lot of south and just going straight on and trying to get those yards, grounding and pounding. He got a few first downs, whereas, 3rd and 2, 2nd and 3, stuff like that. So, again, just promising things all around from this team. I really think, again, if they can just clean up, I think the biggest thing was the offensive line. That's the biggest thing I was disappointed about and was getting, quite
Yeah,
frankly, a little pissed off about with I believe, 7 penalties on the offensive line. But that's
they had 14 altogether, which but
14
also
altogether.
the Falcons also had 12 too. So you can just tell it's
Mhm.
probably just from like you said the
Sloppy.
preseason rust. Yeah,
Yeah, and Nick Sirianni said in the post game interview the best. Those are non-talent plays. Those are just things that they can clean up, and through the football season they will clean up. So again, overall, love the victory, love the game. Again, we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves, but going into next week, definitely feel more optimistic, more comfortable, and with a full fired up link, man. That's a scary place to play. Whether it's a young Eagles team, veteran Eagles team, whatever the case may be, I think they're going to give 49ers a run for their money, and they have a great shot of moving to 2-0.
yeah. Before we move on to that, though, I do want to touch on some of the other games that we saw throughout the weekend. It was a really entertaining NFL weekend. I thought there's a lot of different games going on, and like we saw from obviously some ones that stuck out to me, Green Bay and New Orleans, which was actually played in Jacksonville due to Hurricane Ida.
Pick
New
that.
Orleans, what's up?
I said I picked the Packers, so
You
I'll,
did.
I'll eat that one on the chin.
Listen, I picked the Packers to win the freaking Super Bowl, so we're not off to a good start. But yeah, man, Saints absolutely just blow out the Packers, 38-3. Winston, I believe, threw for 5 touchdowns. Right? I mean, he was dominant. And that was just a very surprising game. Other divisional games, like the Eagles, we said they did start off 1-0. Every other division team start off 0-1. The Giants lost to the Broncos at home, 27-13. Like we said, Daniel Jones did not look great. And also Washington played the Chargers and they lost 20-16. Washington also was at home as well. They're going to be playing each other. Washington and the Giants are going to be playing each other this Thursday, which is going to be exciting. We'll be breaking down that on our show on Saturday. But other games that stuck out, Steelers go on the road to beat the Bills 23-16. That was really surprising. The Texans, who are 3-point underdogs at home, I believe, or they're 4-point underdogs at home. With all the dysfunctions happening all season, they absolutely crushed Jaguars 37-21 in Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence's debut in Jacksonville. Like we said, with the Seahawks and Colts, Seahawks beat the Colts 28-16. And then the Bengals in overtime defeat the Vikings 27-24. One of those games stuck out to you, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest ones was that Bengals Vikings game. I mean, coming into the year, Joe Burrow coming off a very premature, coming back prematurely rather off that ACL injury. I wasn't really sure how he was going to perform. I thought he had a very good game. He obviously hooked up with his old teammate there in Jamar Chase downfield. Jamar Chase looked amazing. 5 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Long T. Higgins, 4 receptions, 58 yards, and a tutty. And then obviously Burrow thrown for 261, 2 tutties and no interceptions. So that was a big thing. I mean, Cincinnati has obviously been reeled down in that division as of late, and they really made a name for themselves, gotten that one out in overtime, and they were leading. So, they gave up that lead and still found the resilience to come back and win in overtime. The other big game that I loved, and my little NFC divisional game pick was in the Rams, and wow, do they look very explosive. Matthew Stafford, the Rams has been his calling card for the last, I don't know how many years, but he should have been there earlier. This dude was just airing the ball out all over the field last night. I don't know if you got a chance to catch it.
I did.
321 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And his receivers just look great. Kupp with 7 receptions. 2 receptions, that big first touchdown, 2 receptions, 80 yards. So that was great. To see the Rams and to see that stadium, SoFi Stadium, filled up is just a sight to see. That place is next level. That place is beautiful. And I think the Rams are going to have a heck of a year. I could see them maybe losing. And again, I know they're in the toughest division in football. Mind you, the NFC West is all 1-0 at this point. But I think they're going to be at the top, right there with the Niners, like I predicted. Hopefully Niners lose next week, but after that, get on a little hot streak.
That'd be nice.
Hopefully. But yeah, I mean, those games were awesome. And then obviously all the games you touched on were just great to see. Just that football back was awesome. And the other game that was pretty cool, was the Browns and Chiefs. And again, the Chiefs are just so over the top with talent, so much, swag, charisma, and poise. I mean, really, Mahomes is the definition of poise. He really never gets uncomfortable. The moment's never too big for him. He never looks nervous. And he did his thing and led his team, to a come behind victory, outscoring the Browns 23-7 in the second half. So those are all great games to see. I can't wait to dive into week 2 here. And I know how you were saying that matchup on Thursday night is going to start us off between the Washington football team and the Giants.
Yeah, before we get into that game, though, I do want to touch on tonight's game, which we're recording right now at 6:40 on Monday. I think that game's going to be in about almost 2 hours. It's going to be Ravens on the road in Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. It's not the opening of Alliance Stadium, but it's going to be the first time. I believe they're going to have fans there, which is going to be exciting. It's the first time they had fans at SoFi. So, but the Ravens coming into this game, they are 6-point favorites on the road, which it's not too surprising, but that is a big number to be a road team. So, Mark, I'll start off. I think the Raiders are going to cover tonight. I still think the Ravens win. But with all the injuries that have amounted for the Ravens over the past couple of weeks, especially with the running back position, Marcus Peters done for the year as well with the ACL injury. I'm really thinking at this point that the Raiders at least cover. I know that I don't think they're a playoff team, especially in that NFC West. But I think that Derek Carr can at least keep it close. They got Josh Jacobs. I believe they have Kenyon Drake, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did add Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, and they got Henry Ruggs coming into a second year. He's a nice, exciting player. So I think Gruden can keep it close. I don't think the Raiders win, but 6 points is a big number. I'm going to go Raiders +6.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm going to take Raiders +6 as well. And again, just this defense did upgrade a little bit. You have Abram coming into his 3rd year, and he's really going to be a key piece on this defense. You have Arnett, who's coming into his 2nd year in Ohio State, cornerback there, and then you got some veteran additions in Corey Littleton, Casey Hayward Jr. I believe he came over from the Steelers. You have KJ Wright, Gerald McCoy, and then obviously Solomon Thomas and Max Crosby, Ngakoue. So they have some names on defense, and I think this defense can make life very miserable for Lamar Jackson tonight. Obviously, when Jackson gets out of the pocket, it's very tough to stop him, but I think they're going to do a good job of containing him, and I think really, again, one of the biggest things, Connors, is the crowd. Last year with no crowd, it was pretty easy to pick home, favorites or underdogs, if you will, with the points. But this year, I think it's different. And I actually wouldn't even be surprised if Las Vegas ended up winning this game tonight. Just being in is it Allegiant? Is it pronounced Allegiant?
I thought it was Allegiant. Maybe
Allegiant. Okay, Allegiant State. It's one. I know it begins with an A, but beautiful facility again. actually built on I know this is a little off topic, but built on the grounds of where that hangover scene took place in the movie.
What scene?
When Chow jumps out of the back of the car.
Is
And
it
he
really built there?
yeah, that's actually where it's
No
built,
way.
right on that
Actually, I
lot.
didn't know
So
that. That's funny, actually.
so yeah, it's a little tidbit, but it's funny. But yeah, again, just getting back to this game. I mean, I think I'm definitely going to take the points here, but I could definitely see Las Vegas winning this game in their new stadium, first time with fans.
I agree. Before we move on to the Thursday game, um, I want to. My buddy texted me this or sent me this tweet. It said, it says, "quote Everyone knew the Falcons stink," and the tweet is literally just Jalen Hurts smiling, and then it's literally everybody picking the Falcons throughout the week on ESPN. It's just hilarious, dude. Like,
Dude, I'm
it's just
telling
the
you,
most
man, the national media
irony.
hates the Eagles.
Well, I mean, it's. I don't know if they would hate I understand if you pick the Falcons, but it's not like they barely beat them on the road. Like they like beat the shit out of them. Like
They
it was not
killed
close. Yeah, it was not close. So like
by the fourth quarter. I'm like, this game's over.
I'm not saying
It's
the
no
Eagles
shot.
winning their division a lot, but like I think saying that the Eagles are like what Colin Cowherd said, like they're a 3-win team is ridiculous at this point. I don't think they're a 3-win team. I think they have a lot more talent. The Falcons do. I was looking at the depth chart before the week before. I'm like, look at this Falcons depth chart. I'm like, it's not that good,
No.
especially on defense. Like they do not have a lot of players on defense. Like I
The
know
team
they
ain't great on paper. It's normally not going to turn out too well on the field.
no,
I
it's
mean,
not.
that's
I mean, well,
it's kind of
they
an
had
obvious.
Calvin Ridley. They have Kyle Pitts. Those are like the two guys on offense who are
Mhm.
going to be like their young stars, and they didn't do like anything. Like Kyle Pitts had a bad game. Calvin Ridley didn't play that great after the first quarter. It was not a good game. And defensively speaking, they have like AJ Terrell, who like he's not that nothing special, and they have Deion Jones, who's like a nice player, but outside they nobody like I feel like they had the blitz if they wanted to like get some pressure on Jalen Hurts, and good for Jalen Hurts to like evade the pocket and step up and choose wisely if he's going to run or like it's listen. The Falcons aren't good. I think they're going to be a bad team. I think they're going to be right where they were last year. But to say like it's just the Falcons, like they beat the shit out of them. Like it was not close. So
No, and they looked like I said. It wasn't even about the score. It wasn't even about really the team they played against. It was really just the way they played the game, the way they moved the ball down the field, the time of possession they dominated in, just the way the running backs looked, and outside of the offensive line taking those false start penalties. And I know there was one where Lane Johnson was in the end zone and an eligible receiver downfield. Other than that stuff, if they just clean that up, I mean, that game, and again, I know this sounds like I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I give the Eagles an A- in that game. I really don't see.
I don't think that's like I think that's completely fair.
I think it's outside of those penalties, I think it was a great game. So again, man, Niners coming into town, they better be ready to take on this Philadelphia crowd.
Yeah, not just the division game too on Thursday with the Giants and Washington. Also, the Cowboys go on the road and they're facing the Chargers, which is, I believe, the Chargers are favored. They're favored by 3 points. So that's if I'm looking at that, I'm probably gonna take Dallas +3. But listen, Herbert's your boy, and he
is my boy.
He threw for what 330 against a good Washington defense, right?
337 yards,
yeah, on the road. So and that Washington defense is a lot better than what Dallas has. So I really think that this is a tough game for Dallas too, and they got after losing the first week, and that's tough to go on the road.
Cross country,
or is this home?
All the way. No, it's in. That's
Los tough Angeles. To start two weeks in a row on the road for Dallas. That kind of blows. Yeah, man, like to go on the road. So go from Tampa Bay and then go all the way back out West Coast to the Chargers to play Justin Herbert and that offense.
And come home against the Eagles, baby.
And then come home on Monday Night Football to play the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, so that's a tough. Like I don't think that's a gimme either. I'm probably leaning Dallas +3, but I mean I could see the Chargers win that game, and that's 0-2 for the Dallas Cowboys. And also we'll break down more the Eagles 49ers game. We'll probably do another video later in the week, but touch on the Thursday game. The Giants and Washington. So Washington's going to have to start Taylor Heineke because the news just came down from Schefter that Fitzmagic is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. Daniel Jones had a really bad game week 1. I think these two teams are setting up to be two of the the bottom feeders in the AFC East. I think Washington, I love their defense, and I think they have a pretty good roster, but without a good quarterback, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up pace. And then with the Giants, man, they have a lot of talent, but Daniel Jones stinks. Like he's not a good quarterback. And
I hate I hate focusing on the national media so much, but they give this guy so much love. They give this guy like he's a
Yeah.
Again, Trevor Lawrence didn't have the greatest game yesterday, but I see more potential obviously in him, and obviously he's one of the highly touted prospects coming out of college in the past 10 years. But I mean, they've been hyping Daniel Jones up like this for the past 2-3 years, and I just don't think it's there. He has great running ability, but throwing is just inaccurate. It's poor. It's just not, when I watch, and I'm not obviously not a Giants fan, but I don't feel confident in that guy at all leading a team, let alone, if I was a Giants fan in my team. So I totally agree with you. I think the Giants are going to be towards the bottom of the division again. And even looking here, I mean, I know Saquon Barkley returns, and I know a lot of people anticipated him coming back, but just the psyche of having two massive injuries. I believe both knee injuries he had. One was a knee, one was an ankle. My apology, but he doesn't look like the same exact player, and so be it, because you're a little, I'm sure, a little scared of getting injured, and you're a little bit on the lookout. So again, this team is adding some pieces such as Kenny Golladay and guys like that. But looking at the rushing yards, Connor, and looking at the stats here, it looks like Daniel Jones had more rushing yards than Saquon yesterday, 27 rushing yards. So, and Barkley had 10 carries for 26 yards. So, again, this team's looking a little like the Giants that we all know and love. And I really don't expect much different on Thursday night. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game.
Yeah. I think but I run that game.
Yeah, I definitely think Washington's going to find a way there. I don't think Heineke's a bad quarterback, but I don't think he's a good NFL starting quarterback in this league.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we're going to wrap it up here. Before we go, I do want to touch like what we said. I'm probably going to do another video later in the week. I do want to highlight the game a little bit. And highlight some of the other games throughout the weekend too. But I want to save a little bit for the show that's going to be happening Saturday on WCHE. Is every morning. We did the 2-hour show. Only this weekend's going to be 1 hour. It's going to be 10 to 11 a.m. On WCHE. But yeah, like I said, Mark, like they play the Niners. And then, like you said, they go on the road on Monday night, week 3, to play the Cowboys. They have like a pretty hard schedule to start off the season. Once they get to like October 24th, which is right before Halloween, like from there to the rest of the season, they have a pretty easy schedule. They'll face they face Raiders on the road, the Lions on the road, Chargers at home, Broncos on the road, Saints at home, Giants on the road, Jets, and then basically they wrap up with the division at the end of the year. So, this beginning of the year is pretty vital. If they can get through this with a pretty good record and get some wins down here, try and go like maybe a 3-2, or God's going to be a 4-1, obviously, but they could somehow come 3-2, throw all that, and look at the rest of the schedule. They got a really good shot at making a run. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I know we'll save some of that for us at for Saturday and maybe later in the week. But yeah, man, it's
hard not to, man.
It's so
hard not to.
I'm just happy football's back, and it's even more fun to watch when your team wins. So it makes the whole Sunday easier, because we have that 1 o'clock slot, and when you win, you can watch the 4 o'clock and you can watch the night game and the Monday night game and still be happy with football going on. But yeah, man, it's just it's awesome. It really is.
Well, great. And again, I'm going to keep saying it. It's not even so much the score. It's not even so much the team. But if the Eagles can just keep playing this way, Hurts eliminates those bad passes and just stays poised and uses his legs, man. I mean, I know we're wrapping up here, but even when he gets out in space, he looks more mature. He looks more poised. He looks more like he knows what he wants to do with the football, rather than, I know last year in his 4 starts, he was a little crazy in the sense of, he didn't really care if he got hit. He didn't really care, if he got tackled or anything like that. So he looks a little more, smart in his runs and has a little more of a plan. So again, if he can keep this up, if this offensive line can clean up some of the penalties, I think that, like you said, I think if you can get through this stretch with a 3-2 record, you're looking great on the back end of the season here.
Yeah, we are. So make sure you follow us on social media at Connor Mark Show, which is on Twitter and Instagram. You subscribe to our YouTube page at Connor Mark Show, and make sure you tune in Saturday mornings on WCHE, the Connor Mark Show live. And yeah, so keep up, and we'll see you guys then.